Starvation Camp. About 18 September 1860, 26 survivors of the utter disaster arrived south of here. Only 10 remained when an army relief expedition arrived 5 weeks later. On September 9th and 10th in Idaho, the Elijah P. Utter wagon train suffered a 2-day attack by Indians in which 11 emigrants were killed. After the survivors were discovered here by Indians, some continued on down the Oregon Trail, only to be killed later. The other survivors awaited for rescue. A boy was killed by the Indians and 4 children from starvation. Those still alive eventually ate the flesh of the dead to preserve their own lives. Survivors of the attack on the Elijah P. Utter wagon train by Indians on September 9th and 10th, 1860, just west of Castle Butte, Owyhee County, Idaho, arrived near here on about September 18th. They had escaped the attacks with only the clothes they were wearing, some firearms, and a few basic necessities. They had followed down the Snake River, often in the cover of darkness to escape detection, for some 75 miles until they could not physically go on. Some were wounded and all were hungry and exhausted. Here, 18 children, 6 surviving parents, and a young man waited to be rescued. 2 weeks later, a few Shoshone Indians visited the camp, and twice thereafter to trade salmon for what few possessions the survivors still harbored, and forcefully took their firearms. After receiving some salmon, the Van Ornum family, a young man named Gleason, and the 2 surviving Utter boys left the camp in hopes of finding a relief party. Near Farewell Bend, Oregon, they encountered Indians. The 3 Van Ornum girls and their little brother were taken captive. The bodies of the others were discovered, gleaming in the moonlight, in a crater near the site by soldiers. Soon after the Van Ornum party left, Mr. Daniel A. Chase Sr. died. On October 13th, Libby Trimble passed away, and 5 days later her baby sister died. The next day, Danny Chase expired, followed 2 days later by his brother Albert. All 4 children died from starvation. After much hesitation and prayer, those who remained resolved to eat the flesh of the recently departed in the hope of preserving their own lives until a rescue party arrived. On October 24th, the Joseph Myers family of 7, Elizabeth Chase and daughter Mary, and Emmeline Trimble, were rescued by an Army relief expedition led by Captain Frederick T. Dent. Captain Dent reported that the relief party, quote, found the remains of Christopher Trimble, who had been murdered by the Indians. His body had been much disturbed by the wolves, but sufficient remained to identify it. This boy of 11 years of age deserves special mention. He had killed several Indians in the fight at Castle Butte. Later, he went voluntarily with the Indians in order that he might get some salmon taken to the camp. 2 weeks had elapsed since his last visit, and must have been at that time he was killed.